Hello friends, welcome to our channel, and today's our lecture is very important because in this lecture we will learn how can we make an advanced Excel data entry software by using a simple functions in Excel. So here you can see the data sheet or the dashboard. So in the dashboard here you can see the employee ID, and if I just write here the employee ID like 1 2 3 4, so here you can see it gives us tick, which means we have completed our cell. And if I just give it, or if I just erase the data, which means empty, so here you can see it gives us mark, which means it is the mandatory part which we needs to fill out. So there are two functions, and first suppose if I just write here any value like any alphabetic value, so it gives the error, which means it says please enter 4-digit ID. And if I just write here 3 digits, so again it gives me error, which means we have restricted this cell up to 4 digits. And if I just write here 4 digits, so it will accept. And for suppose if I just write here 1001, so here you can see it generate the error, which means this record already exists. So we have also make this type of function in the employee ID. So if I just write here 1004, so it will accept. It means 1004 is unique employee ID for our this system. And in this cell we have just use here the name in the text. And for the email, if I just write here any value, so it will generate an error, which means please enter valid employee address. So if I just write here any value like 123, it again gives the error. And if I just write here abc@hotmail.com, so it will accept this cell. And for the date of birth you can write 2020, and for the phone number I just make it simple, and for the date of joining I just write here 1990 or 1998. So here you can see I have filled all the data which is compulsory, or we can say mandatory. Now we have the terms and conditions. For the terms and conditions, here you can see there's an option available, and if I just select here the terms and conditions, so another button appears which is submit button. So if I just click on it, so our data is saved in the backend. So here you can see our data is saved. This is what we will learn today in this lecture. So it is humble request to watch the full video to get the benefit of all the functions, and please share and subscribe our channel, and please click on the like icon so that it will help us to promote our video. So we will start our lecture with a new sheet. So here you can see the sheet is available. Now what we have to do, we have to just select the or increase the length of the cell and write here employee ID, and then select the two cells and make it presentable by just using the color, or make it bold. And now just copy and paste, again paste here, and use the 4 functions. Now we just need to cap the 3 columns or up to 3 columns, then again use the same length and paste the same function to save our time. Now what we need to do, we have to just change to name, use here the employee or the email address, and here we use date of birth, and here I use the phone number which is the contact number, and here I just use date of joining. Now for the last, which is gender, we use the two functions, or we use the two options, which is male and female. So I just first use the male and give some space and use the female, and to give some reasonable space which will help us to show the more presentable function. This is what we have to male and female function. Now we have to use the symbols which will help us to indicate either we have selected the male or either we have selected the female. So how can we use? We need to use the developer option, which is given in the tab. Here you can see the developer. In the developer we have to go here in the insert and use here the option button. Select the option button, and here you can see the option, and first you have to erase the text and then press any cell. Now for selecting or if we need to select the cell, what we have to do, we have to first select the control and then press here, and again use the copy and paste function for another button. So I just go here and place it to the right cell and increase or decrease its effect. Like if I just select the male, so it will give or it will indicate that we have selected the male, and then again use the same function for this cell, place the in the female cell. Now if I just use here male, female, male, female, you can see the changes. Now what we want here, we want here the terms and conditions, terms and conditions, and I just give some space so it will help us to write any mark here. So I just increase the length here and select the three cells and go here in the home and merge here, and all terms and conditions, which means you can write all terms and conditions as per your own concern of the business. And now what I have to do, I have to again select all the cells and color it to be more presentable. Now I use, or I need to use here the tape function or check function, which means I have selected all the cells, which is mandatory, and then I accept the terms and conditions. So to use the check function, we have to again need to take the help of data or developer option and go here in the insert, and here you can see the checkbox. Select the checkbox. First you need to erase all the text. I erase the text and select, and then you need to place it on the right portion and increase its effect. Like if I just need to select here, so it will accept the cell, or we need to select the cell, or again I think I should place it on the right way. Yeah, this is how we have done it. So we have done all the functions here. Now what we want to indicate that we have filled the function, or it is mandatory to indicating in the static function. So we have to first use your if function, like equals to if bracket open. Now I just write here the function which is blank bracket open, use the column bracket close, like is B5 is blank, so remains blank, else should use P symbol. So here you can see if the blank or if the cell is blank, it remains cell, and if we just write any value, it show P. So we need to change the P into mark. So how we can change? We just select the cell and go here in the font, and in the font we just go here at the bottom and use winged 2. So here you can see the check mark, so you need to narrow down the cells and select the color and make it bold for more attractiveness. So if I make the empty, it will generate nothing, and if I just write the cell, so it gives me mark. Now if I just put here it empty, so it should give me the error, which is you should fill the mandatory cell. So how it gives, we again use the formula like equals to if bracket open if B5 equals to empty and comma, it should be given asterisk to indicate that it's mandatory part, else it should remain empty. Like if B5 is empty, it should be given asterisk, else it remains the same. So here it gives the asterisk, which means it's mandatory part, so we need to make it more attractive by using the same function, which is red color and in bold. So if I use any cell, it accept, and if I just erase the cell, so it gives me the error, which is I should fill this mandatory cell. So now we use the same function for all the cells, so we don't need to write the formulas for every cell, we just need to copy and paste it, and again paste it. I also use the same function here, but before that make smaller spaces and select the cell, and select the cell. Now we have completed this portion. Now what we have to do, we have to restrict our cells. Like we just want to restrict our cells to put in the employee ID only numbers, and in the numbers we want only 4 digits, not more than 4, not less than 4. So how can we restrict these cells? To restrict these cells, we need to use the data validation, and the data validation is available in the data tab, and in the data tabs you can see here the data validation. Go here in the data validation and use your data validation. So here you can see the setting option. Go here in the any value and write here in the custom the formula. The formula is equals to and in the end I just got the stuck of my button, so I just need to fill. Yeah, I got first one. We just write here equals to and bracket open, and in the bracket we just write here is number. Select the cell, I just select the cell, bracket close, again comma. Now we decide the length, bracket open, for which cell we select the cell, bracket close, and just write here equals to 4, which means we have restrict our cell to 4, and then close the bracket. Now we just need to prompt the error, so for prompting the error we use please provide 4 digits employee ID, and then press here OK. Like if I just write here 1 2, so it gives the error, which is please provide 4 digits employee ID. And if I just write here any alphabet, so again as I wrote the 4 alphabets, but it says please provide 4 digits employee ID, which means the numbers. And if I just write here 1001, it accepts. Now what we have to do, we have to again use to restrict the cell, and go here in the data validation and go here in the custom, and we just use your equals to and bracket open, we just use is text, bracket open, select the cell, close the bracket, and again close the all bracket, and then we just need to prompt the error, which is please enter name only, and then close. If I just write here 1 2 3 4, so it gives me error, and if I just write here Smith, so it will accept. Now email address, which is the most important part of the data function, so and its function is very important, so we just need to put some focus, like go here in the data function in the setting, and go here in the custom, and in this what we need to put the formula, like what we have to do, you have to just use equals to is number, bracket open, again we need to put another function which is match function, bracket open. Now we need to use some symbols, like first you used to inverted comma opening, then use asterisk, then use rate, again asterisk, then use the full stop, question mark, again star, and then inverted comma close. This is all our symbols. Then comma, we use the cell in which we want the symbols, then comma, and again 0, and close the bracket. Now for error in this it wants the true brackets, now want the error, we use please provide valid email, then close it. Now if I just use 1 2 3, it gives me please provide email. If I just use, it says please provide email, and if I just abc@hotmail.com, so it will accept my email address. Now for the date of joining, what we have to do, we have to go here in the data validation function, here in the settings, here we can see the date option. So in the date we will get the two options, first is the start date and second is the end date. So to make it simple, we just use the date, which is 1990, and we restrict our values to 31st 2020, then press here. And for using the same function, just copy here and then paste here, and we restrict, or we can use the phone number, we don't need to restrict, or if you want to restrict you can use the data validation option here. So we have completed our things. Now what we have to do, we have to make or connect the cells. Like first what I have to do, I have to go here, and in this format cell I just go here in the cell link, select the cell and use here any cell, and it links. So if I use male, so it gives 2, if I use female, so it gives me 1. In the same way I restrict my this cell or link the cell and use here okay. So if I just accept the terms and conditions, so it gives me true. If I just reject, or if not select the terms and conditions, it gives me false. This is the functions. Now we proceed to another cell, which is select another sheet, and we just need to go here and select all the cells here and email address, so that we can use these cells to make a advanced data Excel sheet. And go here in the date of joining and use here last one, which is gender, and I just increase the length of these cells. Now what we have to do, we have to just copy and paste the cells, or link the cells, or link the data of the cells. So for link the data of the cells, you just need to write here equals to, go here and select the employee ID, so it gives you the cell, equals to, go here and name, again go here equals to and use third one and go here and select the date of birth. Again we go here and select the phone number, date of joining, and for last, which is the gender. For gender we don't need to use or go here in the data because we have given the only two options. So how can we perform? We have to use here the formula, which is if bracket open, go here in the cell and select the cell. Like if we have selected equals to 2, then inverted comma, which means it is female, inverted comma close, else it will be male, inverted comma close and close bracket. Like if it gives 2, which means if 2, so it means it's female. So here you can see it is 1, and if it is 1, so it means it's female, else it males. Like here you can see if our data is 1, it means it's female, else it will be male. So I just write here and press here enter. So here you get female, and if I just write here male, so here you can see the effect of the cell. This is how you can link the cell. We have completed the link of the cell. Now what do we have to do here? If I just count here, bracket open, and if I just count here, so it gives the value, which means 1, or it gives the value like. And if I just erase the cell to link our terms and conditions, so here you can see I have linked the cell, but and again I just use here the link the cell so that it will help us to use the same function. For phone number I just use here this 0, and for the date of joining I just use here the date of joining, either I just use here. So now if I just count here, now you can see the 6 values, but what we want to do, we have to link our terms and conditions, and for the terms and condition it's mandatory to select all the cells, and if it gives 0 it means it will count that cells. So what we have to do, we have to use if the cells are 0, then it should not count the cells. So how can we use? We should use, or we should make it empty if there's no value is given here. So how we can? We just go here and select the cell and just write here if bracket open equals to 0, then empty, else give the same value, and close the bracket. So here you can see the 0. So now we have to use the same function. I will just repeating the function equals to 0, it should be empty, else it gives the same function, so that it will be helpful for us to understanding it better. If bracket open equals to 0, it should remain empty, else it should give the same function, and again use the same function for here. If bracket open equals to 0, it should use the same function, else it will be generate empty. Again use the same function for if bracket open equals to 0, empty, else it should use the same function. And for the last one, if bracket open equals to 0, it should give empty, else it should give value. And for the male and female it remains same. So now if I just count here, bracket open, select the cells, so here you can see it gives 0, so we can use the function here. So now what we have to do, we have to use the two buttons. First one is to clear and the second one is to submit. So how can we make? First we have to select the cell which is clear and go here in the home and make it center, color it and use here. Now we just need to make the same which is for the submit. Now we need to make a button of it. So how can you make a button? We just need to go here and copy and select any cell and go here in the paste, and here you can see the linked picture. So you have to select the cell. This is linked picture. And now for submit you have to select the cell and go here in the conditional formatting. Here you can see the new rule. Go here in the new rule and use a formula. Go here in the formula, and here we just need to write a formula which is equals to and bracket open, select the cell equals to true, which means it should be true, comma, and another function that it should count the blank, bracket open, and select all the cells, bracket close equals to 0, and again close the bracket, which means it should contain two conditions. First it should be true and it should select all the cells. Now go here in the format and go here in the fill, select the green cell, again go here in the font, select the white cell and bold and press here enter. Now we just need to go here in the copy and go here in the linked picture. Now what we do, we need to just select the cell and make all the color white. So now what we need to do, we need to test a magic. Like here you can see we have not filled any color, and if I just write here employee, this is employee ID, and write here Smith, again I write here the abc@gmail.com I have wrote, and again I just use the copy and fill this cell and fill all the cells. Now here you can see there's no option of submit given, and if I just select, I have already filled all the mandatory parts, and if I just select the cell like here true, so here you can see it gives us the submit option. If I just untick here, so it will not give us the submit option. This is the magic of all the functions combination, or you can see the magic of terms and conditions. This is we have done our simple functions. Now what we have to do, we have to go here in the second sheet and select all the cells and go here in another sheet, and we need to paste here and make it or increase its length. We need to select the cell and write here control T. So here you can see a box will appear which is create table by using the control T, and use to mark here OK, and here you can see the banded arrow, so we need to untick the banded arrow. Now we have done this function. Now what we have to do, we have to use two simple macro functions which are very simple and which will help us to increase its beauty. So how we can use the macro functions? Like first what we have to do, we have to use a step-by-step function which will help us in the macro functions. We have to go here first in the view tab. So here is view, and in the view tab we have to go here in the macro, and here you can see the record macro. Go here in the record, select the macro function name. So I just write here, or I just select the by default which is macro1, click here macro1. Now what we have to do, we have to select the sheet 2 and in the sheet 2 we have to use here this cell and use shift and right arrow in this way. Then you just need to use Ctrl plus C to copy. Now go here in the third sheet, we go here in the third sheet and select the employee ID. I select the employee ID, and then just you need to write here or press Ctrl then arrow down, then use the option which is given here in the developer, use relative reference, and on this use relative reference. Now you just need to press here simple down function. I just use a simple down function and go here in the home and paste. In the paste you can see here paste values only. You just need to go here and press values only. Now again go here in the developer and use reference or use relative reference button off, and then go here in our sheet, select all the data which we have put, and then what we have to do, we have to press here delete and select the cell employee ID, and then what we have to do, we have to just go here in the view and stop recording. This is our first macro has completed for the submit. Now what we have to do, we have to like use the function, or we can use the function or of submitting. And for clear, what we have to do, we have to use the another function. Like for suppose if I just write here the value and write here the name which is Smith, and employee or email address which is @gmail.com, and date of birth, if I just or write here date of birth like 1992, and again use the same function for the date of joining. For the number, if I just use here the number, so we have already select the terms and conditions. And if I just or we can use another function, but for submit I just go here and select the assign micro and select the macro one, then copy it, so it will accept this button as a macro. Now what we have to do, we have to use the same macro function for clear, but it's very simple. Like for the macro button for clear, what we have to do, we have to go here in the view, use macro and use your record macro, and it gives by default name macro 2. You can use another name which is clear, and go here in the OK. And what we have to do, we have to select the cell, and again I just third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and then what we have to do, we have to select all the cells and then press delete and go here this cell, and then again close the or stop the macro. Then for this cell you just need to go here and assign macro and use this cell for this macro. Now we have completed the cell macro function. Like if I just write here the employee ID and write here Smith, and for the cell we just use hotmail.com, and here use the date of birth, we can use or change the date of joining and use, and if I just untick here, so it will get erased, and if I just use it, so it will give value. And if I just use your submit option, so here you can see we have given the another or our data is ready. So here you can see the date of birth is not in the format. So what we have to do, we have to select the cell and go here in the format cell, and in the format we have date, and in the date we can select any appropriate format which you like. So here you can see it gives you the date in the same way. Now here we go, and if you want to test our, or if you want to test our formula, so we can like gmail.com, and if I just need to clear, so here you can see all the data is cleared from our perspective. Now what do we want? We want another function which is like, if I just write here 1001, which is the ID which it accepts, but we have already given 1001. So what do you want? Like, if we use the data which is already given, it should prompt the message which is your data is already exists or something related. So how we can use this? We just go here in the equals to and use VLOOKUP function, bracket open, and in the VLOOKUP function what we have to do, we have to select the cell, comma, and go here and select all the sheet, comma, use 1 then 0, and then close the bracket. Now it gives the same thing. Now what we have to do again, we have to use the or select the whole cell and then copy it, then use if, bracket open, use the VLOOKUP function, equals to our cell, then it should generate this record already exist, then close, and it should be empty now. And here you can see it gives the error, so I just make it more better, or I can use another thing which is again use this cell and make it bold and in the red color, so it should be more helpful. And now if I just write here 1002, so it gives nothing available, and if I just write here 1001, so it gives error. So if you use the value which is given here, so it's good that it shows the error, but if we use 1002, then it gives nothing available, and that's what we don't want this. So how we can erase this? We again go here in the cell and select all the formula and copy the formula, then use if error, bracket open, select the whole function and comma, then empty brackets, and then close it. Now here you can see if I use 1001, it gives me error, but if I just use 1002, it is not giving me any type of error. So we have completed this cell. Now to make it attractive, what we have to do, you have to just go here and make it somehow zoom, and here you have to go here in this cell, and here you can see the option which is available here in the cells, like grid option. We can erase the grids. So now what you can make it more attractive, like if I use 1003, it will accept, and if I just write here John, date of birth, and 1993, email address john@yahoo.com, and its contact number is 1593625, and its date of joining is, and here is male and female, and if I just accept all the terms and conditions and press here submit, so it will generate another value which is John. And if I just use ID which is 1003, so it will generate me the error which is this record already exists. This is how we have completed our whole data sheet. In the all we have completed the whole data software by using simple functions. If you like our video, please share and subscribe, and kindly comment and click on like so that it will help us to grow our video. Thank you so much.